Step into a dark future of cyberpunks with Electronic Arts Syndicate for the Macintosh and Syndicate Plus for the IBM CD.
The year is 1993. Hot off the success of Populous and Syndicate, Peter Molyneux, head of Bullfrog Productions in England, had an arguably unique idea.
It was a game which no one at Bullfrog really wanted to develop. And we kind of got into the rhythm of shooters. And then I came along and said, I've had a really good idea. Why don't we make a game about running a theme park?
It's without a doubt a change of pace. They're going from making games where you play the role of a god to shooting games to running a business. Molyneux tells me he truly believed this concept could succeed.
I've always wanted to have my own theme park, and why wouldn't that be a great idea for a game? Being able to make dangerous rides and being able to exploit the people coming to the theme park seemed like a really cool idea.
To others, not so cool. One of Theme Park's early developers, Gary Carr, quit Bullfrog over this project, calling it a, quote, dreadful idea. No, Matter, the project pressed on. They are said to have traveled to real theme parks around the world for research. They did this to experience different rides and study how parks make money. The research paid off. Many hail Bullfrog Simulation as an accurate representation of running a real theme park. According to Computer and Video Games, CNN used Theme Park to demonstrate why Euro Disney can't succeed. Players designed their park layout while managing its various business assets to generate a profit, with hopes of creating more parks around the world. Over time, you make money, unlock more rides, and learn new ways to financially take advantage of your consumers. Theme Park is just as much about being a business boss as it is a visually creative process.
It was just really two of us that developed the idea initially. It was me and this kid called Dimas Azarbis, who's now turned into this uber AI genius.
Simulation games are sparse in this time period. The urban planning wonderland SimCity recently produced tidal waves of money. The genre has potential, so perhaps this theme park game won't be a total bust, right?
In the end, Theme Park sold more copies than all the other Bullfrog games put together.
The computer game's success story rapidly wrote itself, going on to sell 15 million copies, according to what Molyneux told Retro Gamer magazine. Even though Bullfrog is a small studio, they managed to port Theme Park to several computer systems and home consoles, like the Super Nintendo, Genesis, Sega CD, Jaguar, Panasonic 3DO, and of course, the mythical mid-90s powerhouse, Sega's Ace in the Hole, a dream game machine to rival all others. The Sega Pico.
Middle-aged men who want to be teenage girls. Next.
So make it the right things with Pico.
I'm joking, guys. You know I'm talking about that benchmark of engineering excellence.
It's PandaMonium!
Dad, I'm really bored.
Well, I know just how to cure your boredom, kid. Follow this bizarre top hat man with the weirdest smile in all of Britain. Take the whole family. Hell, bring the dog, too. You can all have fun. Fun in the theme park of... Theme Park. Wait. Why the fuck is that dog in the roller coaster? What is he doing there? Is anyone concerned? Like, zero chance he's properly strapped in. Somebody help that dog. When this intro is done or skipped, the player is quickly brought to the beautifully simple main menu. I entered my name, calling the park PandaParkium since I'm creative. You're given several start conditions to choose from with little explanation. The first symptom of theme park requiring newcomers to actually read the instruction manual. You at least get a helpful tutorial to start off, thanks to the park advisor. He walks you through how to navigate the menu, lay paths, hire staff, and construct attractions. Toward the latter end of this, his tips get more vague. He barks commands at you without telling you how to do them. For example, you need more ice cream supplies, but he doesn't say how. I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure that out. Holy cannoli, Richard Nixon bought shares of my park! Since I jumped right in without pre-reading the manual, PandaMonium Mark I was a disaster. I didn't know how to get any new rides, so I just kept putting in the same 4 rides in 4 shops over and over. None of my people were happy. I picked full sim level, not knowing this means I have to manually keep track of all the business assets. I ran out of ice cream all the time and constantly had rides break down. All while hearing the searing non-stop tones of crying children. It never went away. I had to stop and take a break and listen to literally anything else to get the sound of crying children out of my head. The earworm nearly drove me to performing a self-lobotomy. Then I read the instruction manual and started over. I entered my name, calling the park PandaMonium 2 since I'm creative. I picked some easier difficulty options, hoping I could take time to get to know theme park a little better. We started this relationship on the wrong foot. In sim mode, you don't have to keep track of item stock along with the other intricate management duties. To some, this might take depth away from the experience, but as a first-timer, not babysitting stock is a breath of fresh air. For once, I can focus on park design and invest in research. Finding the research menu was its own challenge. You need to go to the park menu, which is this smiley face, click the light bulb, and then figure out how the hell this chemistry shit works. The top bar controls how much money per month you'll spend on research. The vertical bars allocate that money into specific types of park materials. The more you invest in rides, the more new rides you unlock, so on and so forth. Pro Panda tip. It's worth it to invest in this new category. This makes ride performance overall better and, more importantly, cheaper. The park menu also shows how happy the little people are and what attractions they'd like to see. They almost always want food. Like, these guys are just always hungry. I've never ever given them enough food. The whiny hell spawns are a tough crowd, so good luck meeting their demands. Remember, your goal is to yoink as much of their parents' cash as possible. With each ride, you can modify the capacity, amount of time peeps can spend on it, and how fast the ride goes. Adjusting time can help with long lines, but this might also reduce excitement. It's a balance. The ultimate pro gamer move is positioning exits in front of the entrance to a different ride, so your kiddos daisy chain down the attractions. Rides will wear out over time, to the point where they become beyond repair and explode. Your advisor will let you know when it's time to say goodbye to a ride. If you don't delete the ride before it goes boom, it will go boom. And leave behind irreplaceable rubble. Like, it stays there forever. You can't get rid of it, you can't delete it, you can't build something over it. It's just there. The corpse becomes a permanent fixture of your park, reminding patrons of the danger you're putting them in, thanks to your cheap American craftsmanship. Through steady research, trial and error, and patience, the park got bigger, and Money River flows stronger. If you get bored while waiting for money to print, you can take an FMV ride on your rides. Oh my god, that's where my dog went. Yo, why is this teddy man walking around with that dump truck? In this second PandaMonium, I attempted to make a more simple park while experimenting with the decorations. My advisor kept yelling at me about the ticket prices being too low, so I kept raising them. Never seemed to be enough. And finally, he called me a shrewd businessman, with my price set at £322. At least I'm assuming it's in pounds. I mean, he assumed the player's gender, so I guess me and the game are even now. I wouldn't even pay that much for Disney World, but if it's what the little people want, sure, that's fine. For once, I no longer hear the alarming caterwaul of screaming kids. Now, just the splendid ka-ching ka-ching.
The money is always right.
On this middle ground difficulty setting, there's enough to do to keep my attention and keep me entertained while waiting for money to go up. I never got bored. Yeah! Surprisingly, there does not appear to be any slowdown caused by the Saturn hardware. Something Molyneux mentioned to me in our interview. The console kings, including Sega, are desperately seeking out successful PC games for their machines. They're a relatively cheap way to boost software libraries and entice adopters. Some computer games, like Myst, are designed with eventual console ports in mind, built with the ability to compress within the confines of a small plastic box. Others, like the process-heavy SimCity 2000, prove to be more of a grind to cram into the Saturn. Similarly, Theme Park has a lot to process, but its map does not have nearly as many cells as in SimCity. Thanks to this, and the programmers in charge of porting each game, Theme Park runs smoothly in little plastic boxes, especially excelling on Saturn. Molyneux's recollection of development shows any quality port of Theme Park should be hailed as an accomplishment, since the people who ported it had to put up with his code.
I always feel like slightly apologising because people have to wade through my code, especially that hasn't really existed before. Then you do a lot of trying an idea out and then throwing it away, and what that means is that your code tends to be very messy.
Chris Solis is responsible for launching Theme Park on the ringed planet, primarily sticking Simeon Pashley with the task. I tried reaching out to him, wanting to learn what wading through Molyneux's code was like, but as of this video, I haven't heard back yet. I did find this on Pashley's old website, last updated in 2004. What video game character are you? I am a scorched earth tank. When I have a mission, it consumes me. I will not be satisfied until the job is done. I have a strong sense of duty and a strong sense of dedication. Changes in the tide don't faze me. I always know which way the wind blows, and I know how to compensate for it. His resume showed about 8 years of experience programming video games. He went to 2 separate Saturn developer conferences in the US and already has experience porting games to Sega platforms. Theme Park's Saturn port was put in capable hands. A series of store release schedules on Usenet show Theme Park was only delayed by about a week.
Play your games in the 21st century.
Many Saturn games of 1995 endured serious delays. Theme Park came out in the US by October 23rd, 1995. Optimizing mouse controls for consoles was a big concern of Molyneux.
As far as the port's concerned, I was always concerned that the console version was going to be, the controller would feel more like it was getting in the way than benefiting you.
On PC, your tools are in a bar at the bottom, and the cursor moves with your mouse. Instead of trying to bring this bottom bar to the Saturn, they got rid of it. Instead, your tools are in this pop-up menu, activated by pressing L. This quick and smart design doesn't bog down gameplay at all. You can open options for a specific ride by pressing R. It was a smart move making these menus 2 different buttons. Pashley did a terrific job optimizing this for Saturn. I asked why Theme Park doesn't have mouse support, especially since Molyneux was this concerned about using a paddle for PC games. To his recollection, the Saturn mouse wasn't available to them.
I don't think it was around, but I would have just leapt all over that.
You'd have tackled that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
Saturn games to this point either support the mouse or don't, even if the developers had a mouse. For example, SimCity 2000's devs had one, but couldn't support it due to technical and time constraints. I would also like to compliment the save file. It takes up about 150 blocks to start, not nearly as much as other simulation games this series has covered. The only key port difference is graphics. The Saturn appears to be running Theme Park at a lower resolution, so environmental features like the flowers look less detailed. Wait, why the f*** is that dog in the bouncy castle? His claws are gonna pop the damn thing. No wonder it breaks down so often. PandaMonium 2 reached a point where money flow took too long. My mistakes caught up to me. I came to realize this is due to my own inadequacies. I'm too much of a lover, unwilling to think more about manipulating the customers. I need to stop seeing them as free-willed little people, and instead, as little dollar signs. I entered my name, calling the park PandaMonium 3 since I'm creative. This time around, I decided to maintain a checking account of at least $100,000 while still playing on the easier settings. I find that this combination of game conditions are a great way to start out. This allowed me to have fun crafting up my park, while providing just enough challenge with managing business assets. I gradually built up investments in research while turning a greater and greater profit as the months and years went by.
Pro Panda Tip!
Like love, paths cost nothing. If you mess them up, feel free to try again. By pressing B above the path icon, you can make one-ways or place signs. Signs actually help a ton. Use them to direct customers to rides or shops in order to generate some sweet, sweet currency. I really sunk my teeth into tweaking ride settings, keeping a close watch on longer queues and wait times, while trying not to get distracted by Teddy Man's nuggies. You can also tweak the amount of ingredients in the food you're selling, like with caffeine, you can add loads. Who let him on the ride? Who let him on the ride? That poor dog. I got ASPCA on speed dial because of you dumb fuck. I unlocked way more rides than in my first 2 attempts, like the iconic roller coaster. The first track I made flung every passenger off the ride before the end of the cycle. A sure sign this is a successful ride. I'm making some mad stonks in this playthrough. My one critical mistake was allowing empty space in the middle of my water ride track. Little people would fall off and get stuck on this island. They never escaped. I couldn't get them out. It was at this point in my theme park journey when something strange and unexpected happened. I began having fun. I spent straight hours managing my park, tinkering with the rides, and replacing broken down machines with new creations my researchers crafted. It's addicting. Never thought I'd enjoy it this much. There's an in-depth long game to be had here. Remember all of those locations across the world? You can eventually sell your park if it becomes valuable enough, and expand your park empire to a new location. Each place has a different population and economy, which in many cases makes it harder to please or attract customers. If you don't grow tired of using the same rides and elements, you could easily lose dozens of hours taking over the world with your theme parks. The save file size does slightly go up the more complex your park gets, so that's something to keep in mind. One major downside I discovered: if you turn the game off and load your park later, the little people disappear and have to respawn from the bus stop. This causes your money flow to come to a grinding halt for a few in-game months. Because of this, playing theme park in short increments could put you in financial ruin. If you're in the red at the end of a year, you go bankrupt and it's game over. The manual talks about bankruptcy, saying, quote, "The park has to close, your life's work collapses around you, and there's only one honorable way out. It's a long way down." Oh, here's the cutscene that plays. Wow. Good thing it's just a one-story building. The Genesis version is worse. It's just a still image. I need some brain bleach after getting a load of that society. Let's take an FMV stroll through the haunted house. Maybe we'll find the dog again. Going up the twisted staircase. All right, pretty spooky. Whoa, okay, there's a little spiky clown. Got some cobwebs, all right. Holy shit! Did I just fucking die? I just died. The only exit to this ride is the gripping clutches of death itself. Get out of the line, kids, get out! Leave! Fun fact! During development, there was a multiplayer mode. Molyneux and his team did this for every game they developed. It's how they balanced difficulty.
This is how we used to develop games. Populous, Powermonger, Magic Carpet, Syndicate, and Theme Park were all developed by getting the basic systems in the game and then linking them together in multiplayer and balancing them by just playing and playing and playing. We just literally handshooked the player turns. The golden rule I always used to have: if someone else is winning, then the game must be unbalanced.
Computer and video games explained this network play before it got dropped. They reportedly let you send thugs into opponents' theme parks to smash rides and cause mayhem. You could also report them to consumer groups if you found something wrong. In a GameSpot write-up from 2001, Molyneux said multiplayer had to be dropped from the PC version 2 weeks before release to meet EA's pesky deadline. You will find EA to be a consistent Bullfrog barrier throughout this review series. Molyneux says multiplayer theme park on the Saturn was theoretically possible, but impractical.
Well, the idea was probably scrapped because it was so hard to link two consoles together, and it wouldn't have really worked well a split screen because it would It was already quite congested.
Even though Theme Park sold millions across the globe, it's Bullfrog's worst-selling game in the United States. Sega is smart to want this game on the Saturn for its Japanese and European markets. Why not use it to expand North America's library? Theme Park won't help the Saturn pick up speed in the US market, but for the proud few bald eagles who actually liked it, this is a treat. The PC original is met with a plethora of positive reviews. The Saturn version is treated no differently. Writers didn't seem to talk about any disadvantage to playing this over the PC version. It's treated like they're playing Theme Park with no added obstacles. But much like the original, Saturn's Theme Park is not high on North America's radar. Next Generation says it has one of the most bizarre premises of any video game they played, but complements the art style and management fundamentals. They call it a near-perfect translation of the PC original, only complaining about a lack of new features and updates. EGM's 4 critics all gave it great scores, saying its worst feature is addictiveness. GamePro seemed to like it, but gave it a lower score than the others, complaining that you need to read the manual to understand the game. This is a fair critique, and a criticism I share, but I don't think a light bathroom reader will hamper Theme Park's quality. Saturn's Theme Park was reviewed by several European and Japanese publications, saying mostly positive things. It was perceived as being so successful in Japan, Bullfrog made a special version just for the island nation called Shin Theme Park. It's the same core game, but with a new intro and different visual features to appeal to Japanese players. For Chairman Segata, this business simulator is a great addition to his Saturn arsenal, once he understood how it works. It's especially important to understand the various difficulty settings. Ease yourself into the nuts and bolts of running a park. In time, you too can become a shrewd businessman, engineering a park empire so grand, Walt Disney will sweat a 5th ocean after stepping out of the freezer. This is worth your time. It's addicting and has great pacing for a simulation game, but it will take some getting used to. You may need to start with a few burner parks to get the hang of how the game works and understand which difficulty settings are the most fun for you. If you're able to get into it, you're in for a long, fun game, and the Saturn's port is more than competent. I'm surprised to see Saturn fans at large more or less slept on this port. It's very well done. Is this a hidden gem? No, Theme Park itself was popular, especially in Europe. Perhaps Peter Molyneux should build his own theme park. Some might suggest his legacy of video games is itself a theme park, and Theme Park is no exception. Remember Gary Carr, the man who quit Bullfrog because he didn't like the idea of Theme Park? He said he regretted that decision after seeing the game's success and rejoined the team. Comically, they tasked him with spearheading Theme Hospital, a sequel to Theme Park, the game he hated. Years later, he stayed with Molyneux when he formed Lionhead Studios and became creative director for the critically acclaimed Fable. Good redemption arc, Gary.
A child's mind is like a sponge, absorbing everything.
Sometimes you have to check text, sometimes you have to play a Pico game, which is made for a 3 to a 5-year-old.
This is actually a question from my wife, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah, totally not Saturn related. Kind of an out there question. Her question was, if you were to rhetorically make a 4th Fable game, would you allow the player to change the clothes of their character's spouse?
Wow, that is specific. Sure.
Sure?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, absolutely.